There's been another mass shooting. We need stricter gun control. These are things we've all heard on the news or somewhere on social media. The assault weapons ban of 2019 is a bill proposed by the Senate. With congressional and presidential elections coming up this year, it's important to understand this key topic. I've grown up around guns, and as is a topic often misconstrued by media, I've done plenty of prior research. The assault weapons ban of 2019 would have little effect on gun safety as opposed to other solutions, and the weakness of it would only serve to advance political agendas. Before discussing the content of the proposed bill, I'm going to give some background information on firearms and clear up some common misconceptions. First, assault weapons. An assault weapon isn't a real thing. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the only real way to define what is an assault weapon is politically. When thinking of assault weapons, people tend to actually be thinking of assault rifles. An assault rifle is an automatic weapon. That is, the gun will feed cartridges, fire them, eject their empty cases, and repeat the cycle as long as the trigger is held. Automatic weapons have been banned since the early 1900s. Second, owning firearms can keep people safe. CDC research reveals that annual defensive gun use by victims ranges from 500,000 to more than 3 million. This large range is because it is hard to account for every instance, such as a victim stopping an act of violence by merely making their gun visible. According to Giffords Law Center, in the United States, including suicides, 36,000 people are killed with firearms a year, and 100,000 more are injured. Even at the lowest estimated defensive use, guns are almost 4 times as likely to be used to protect individuals than harm them. Finally, while many gun control advocates point to Australia as a role model on policy, it is our right to have them. The Second Amendment grants people the right to bear arms. While it does make sense to have restrictions based on technological weapon advancements, too much control goes against the purpose of the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia. The Founding Fathers were less concerned with individual rights and more focused on the idea of a militia, but too much gun control on individuals, in turn, weakens the strength of the people, which defeats the purpose of the amendment. Australia can do whatever they want with their gun laws, but the National Firearms Agreement they passed in 1997 had minimal impact. There are a variety of reasons for this, as well as why it isn't an indicator that stricter gun laws make people safer. Australia's population is only a few more million than the state of Florida, but it's spread over the entire country. Due to such a small population, homicides were rare before the agreement, and they still are. The numbers are typically around 300 and have been since the early 1990s, with yearly fluctuations and a very, very slight decrease recently. Based on data from the Foundation for Economic Education's article, Australia's homicides have decreased in the 21st century, but so have most Western countries, the United States included. While experts are unsure of the cause for this international decrease, it isn't strict gun control. In fact, many countries that have experienced the same downward trend as Australia have had increases in gun purchases, as well as less restrictions of concealed carry. Given all this information we already know about guns, it's easy to see the flaws in the assault weapons ban. The assault weapons ban of 2019 lays out numerous guidelines and lists of firearms that would become illegal, but it wouldn't have the desired effect. In Section 2 of the bill, both the cosmetic features and firearms by name that would be banned are listed. The features and additions that would be banned, except for limiting the capacity to 10 rounds, don't change what the firearms are capable of. For example, a semi-automatic rifle with a pistol grip would be illegal, but a rifle with the exact same design and caliber, just a differently shaped grip, would be perfectly fine. Both firearms could do the exact same damage, but a simple cosmetic change makes the difference. In the assault weapons ban of 2019, there are also over 200 firearms listed by name that would be banned. This is a lot of firearms, but the bill exempts over 2,000 by name. The 2,000 exempted, plus all the firearms not banned for certain features, makes the 200 seem trivial. The bill also contains multiple exceptions for grandfathered weapons. This means the ban won't apply to any gun owned prior to the ban being passed. They just can't be manufactured or imported. With all of these guns already in circulation and the possession of millions, the only effect the ban would have is hurting gun manufacturers and companies and forcing individuals to change the guns and ammunition they plan on purchasing in the future. The content of the bill has caused many to question if it would be the most effective way to protect individuals. Despite the ineffectiveness of the bill due to its weakness and the lack of evidence that bans keep people safer, there are ways to decrease gun crime. The main way seems pretty obvious, but the government needs to correctly enforce current gun laws. The National Instant Criminal Background Check System, or NICS, keeps guns away from people who can't legally own them, but only if agencies report records. USA Today mentions how the Air Force failed to notify NICS about the criminal record of a discharged airman who then bought an assault-style rifle and killed 26 people at a Texas church in 2017. He never should have gotten the weapon, but the system wasn't enforced. Instead of passing new bans, we should focus on adequately enforcing the systems already in place. Another way to keep people safer without banning guns is to allow teachers to carry guns on school grounds. Between 1950 and 2019, 94% of mass shootings have occurred in gun-free zones. These zones are known as soft targets, and because of the fear and media coverage of school shootings, it could be a viable solution. Some countries across the country already allow teachers to have guns on campuses, according to the New York Times. Some teachers in Ohio have biometric safes that contain handguns and ammunition. Many are in support of allowing it nationwide, including teachers, but it wouldn't be mandatory, and states working towards it would require many training hours and psychological exams, in addition to safes like those in Ohio. It isn't as outrageous as opponents claim, as thousands of teachers already have concealed carry and are trained with firearms. To sum everything up, the proposed bill would have little effect on gun violence. It doesn't take into account what we know about firearms and how they're used, and all it would achieve is making a political statement on gun control. If keeping the country safe was actually the goal, other options would be much more effective. So next time you see a headline about gun control, think about if it's actually about keeping people safe.